The worst Black Friday deaths ever. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another video. Black Friday, huh? Yeah, don't mind me, I'm looking scruffed because I'm grinding, which means you should subscribe. Most consistent YouTuber in the past 2 months that I've been doing YouTube, I would say, and I mean it. But Black Friday, crazy times. It's like Cyber Week, basically now. We don't be going outside no more like that. But I remember them Jordan drops, them GameStop days. Without further ado, let's get straight into this video.
She be command me.
Trampled to death. On November 28, 2008, thousands of shoppers gathered outside the Valley Stream Walmart on Long Island, New York. It was 5 o'clock a.m., still dark, with temperatures hovering just above freezing. Among the employees preparing for the day was Jedimitai Damour, a 34-year-old temporary worker who had been at the store for only 1 week. Damour was a large man, 6'5" and 270 pounds, which was likely why
it sound like me.
Managers positioned him near the entrance. He had received no training in crowd control. The store was offering deep discounts on flat-screen televisions and other electronics that morning. Outside, the crowd had been growing since midnight, swelling to more than 2,000 people. As 5 o'clock a.m. approached, the mood changed. People at the back began pushing forward. The crowd pressed against the glass doors, which began to bow under the pressure. Damour stood on the other side, watching as the doors shuttered. Store managers had placed him there, believing his size would deter aggression. At precisely 5 o'clock a.m., the doors were unlocked. Within seconds, they bulged inward and shattered. The metal door frame bent and gave way. Damour was hit by the rushing mass and knocked backward. He fell to the hard tile floor as shoppers poured.
Oh yeah, I can already see it. This is well, obviously it's real, but this is definitely possible for everybody. Not me though, because I would have had that ultra instinct, would have started backpedaling like this. You're not stepping over me like that.
Witness statements later confirmed he tried to stand but couldn't regain his footing.
I would have been grabbing everybody's ankles. I would have been doing the Draymond, just trying to trip everybody. Everybody gonna stop, because we all getting up. Y'all not gonna keep walking over me.
The crowd did not slow. Shoppers stepped on his chest, legs, and arms. Some, focused on doorbusters, didn't notice him. Others saw but continued forward, unwilling to lose their place in the surge.
Yeah.
Security cameras captured the scene from above, Damour's body disappearing under a wave of legs and feet. Store employees tried to reach him but were pushed back by the unstoppable flow of people. For 3 minutes and 40 seconds, Damour lay on the floor, being crushed by the weight of dozens of shoppers. His chest cavity compressed with each footfall. His ribs broke one by one. His lungs could not expand to draw breath. When security finally cleared a path, Damour was unconscious. Blood trickled from his nose and mouth. Emergency responders performed CPR, but the internal damage was catastrophic. At 6:23 a.m., while the store remained open and shoppers continued checking out, Jedimitai Damour was pronounced dead. Collapse.
I'm not gonna lie, might sound stupid, might sound crazy, but we need to get back to that. We need to get back to the in-store deals that aren't marked up. Look, this is what they be doing now. Go on Amazon 2 months ago, 3 months ago. You go on Amazon, right? You put something in your cart, $30. Now it's about to be Black Friday, maybe like the month before, maybe like 2 weeks before. They're gonna raise the price on that bit. And you're gonna be like, oh, you know what? This is kind of expensive. It's kind of expensive. Black Friday markdown. You over here think you got a deal. They got your ass. They got your ass. That's what happened. They just mark that shit down, mark it up. They just move the price. That shit is exactly the same. Or they keep the price. It's $30 all throughout the year. But then on that Black Friday sale, they just put a red line through it and say, it was $200, but it's really $30. All right, bro.
And stepped over. On November 25, 2011, Walter Vance left his home in Logan County, West Virginia, to take advantage of Black Friday sales. The 61-year-old pharmacist had a history of heart problems, but felt well enough to join the midnight shopping rush. Target's doors in South Charleston had opened at 12:01 a.m., and by 12:15, the store was filled with hundreds of bargain hunters. Vance moved through the crowded aisles, a shopping list in his pocket. The store's temperature had risen several degrees from the mass of bodies. Security footage later showed Vance pausing in the housewares section, placing one hand on a shelf to steady himself. His other hand went to his chest. At 12:23 a.m., Vance's legs buckled. He collapsed face first onto the white tile floor. The fall was not gentle. His forehead struck the edge of a display, creating a small cut that began to bleed. He lay in aisle 7, partially blocking the path to discounted kitchen appliances. What happened next would shock the nation. Shoppers stepped around him. Some glanced down, then continued walking. Others stepped over his body, shopping bags in hand. A woman pushing a cart full of electronics actually moved his arm with her foot to create more space to pass. Not one person stopped to help. For nearly 4 minutes.
Can you imagine? Oh, fucking dead body. Watch out real quick. Niggas sick.
Vance lay on the floor. Store cameras recorded at least 17 people who clearly saw him but continued shopping. His breathing became labored. His lips turned blue. The small pool of blood from his forehead spread slowly across the floor. Finally, a nurse who had come to the store after her hospital shift spotted Vance. She immediately dropped her items and began CPR. She called for help, but her voice was initially drowned out by announcements of flash sales. Eventually, other shoppers noticed and cleared space around him. Paramedics arrived 7 minutes after his collapse. They found Vance in full cardiac arrest. His heart had stopped beating 2 minutes earlier. Despite using a defibrillator and administering emergency medications, they could not restart it. As shoppers continued to stream past with carts full of discounted items, Walter Vance was pronounced dead at 1:45 a.m., surrounded by strangers focused on savings rather than a man's final moments.
Can you imagine? Someone died right next to you trying to get some pillows for the low. Someone died in that area.
The fatigue incident. On November 23, 2012, Arvin Tandil, a 41-year-old software engineer, loaded his family into their Honda Odyssey minivan after an all-night shopping trip in San Diego, California. It was 7:45 a.m. Tandil had been awake for over 20 hours, having worked a full day before heading directly to the stores for Black Friday deals. In the van were his wife, his mother, and his 4 daughters. The back of the vehicle was packed with bags containing electronics,
he killed the
toys, and
family?
household items purchased at steep discounts. The family had saved over $1,200 on their purchases. Tandil's eyes burned with fatigue as he pulled onto Highway 101 northbound. His wife, sitting in the passenger seat, had fallen asleep almost immediately. The children, too, were quiet in the back, exhausted from the overnight expedition. Traffic was light, and Tandil set the cruise control to 65 miles per hour. Near the 3rd Avenue exit, witnesses reported seeing the minivan suddenly drift to the right without braking. Highway Patrol investigators would later determine that Tandil had momentarily fallen asleep at the wheel. The van struck the guardrail at full speed, then violently careened back across 3 lanes of traffic. The impact deployed the front airbags, but the force of the second collision, when the van struck the concrete center divider, was catastrophic. The vehicle rolled 3 times before coming to rest on its roof. Glass and metal scattered across all lanes of the highway. Inside the crumpled vehicle, the scene was horrific. Cheadle had been partially ejected through the window. The impact had severed her spinal cord at the neck. She died instantly. Nisha, seated directly behind her father, suffered massive head trauma when the roof collapsed. She remained alive but unconscious, blood pooling around her still fastened seatbelt. First responders were...
I'm not gonna lie, as men, we gotta do better. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it a bean that women, y'all gotta do better. Y'all can't get in a car and just, I'm going to sleep. Fuck you. Respectfully, though.
That nigga's tripping.
It's like, nigga, I go through a whole long ass day. Now I gotta drive. Do you know what them lines will do to you? Do you know what them lines will do to you just driving? That's why for me personally, I got smelling salts. I got smelling salts in the side. Nigga, oh shit. I'm ready. That's me, nigga. Get some smelling salts, some selling salts, y'all.
Worked frantically to extract the family. Tandil, dazed but conscious, kept repeating, "My children, my children." He watched helplessly as paramedics performed CPR on Nisha in the middle of the highway. Her small body jerked with each compression, but her brain had already been deprived of oxygen for too long. At 8:32 a.m., paramedics ceased resuscitation efforts. Both girls were declared dead at the scene, victims of their father's fatigue after a night of pursuing bargains. Nordstrom employee. On November 28th, 2000...
Is that his fault? What do y'all think? Is that his fault? Because it is his fault, but like, low-key, I'm the type of person to be like, if I'm driving, don't just go to sleep next to me. I tell everybody this. I'm like, don't go to sleep next to me. Unless I tell you, yeah, you can go to sleep. Don't just go to sleep like, that entitled, I'm going to sleep. Because you will. That sleepy ass air will get me.
2014, the Nordstrom store on North Michigan Avenue in Chicago bustled with Black Friday shoppers. Holiday music played softly through speakers as customers browsed discounted luxury goods. Nadia Izaldine, a 22-year-old seasonal employee, stood behind the cosmetics counter on the second floor. The University of Chicago law student had taken the temporary position to help pay for her education. It was 8:30 p.m., and Azaldine had been on her feet since the store opened at 8 a.m. She had requested the day off. It was her birthday, but management had denied the request due to the holiday rush. She had less than 30 minutes remaining in her 12-hour shift. Store security cameras captured Marcus D., 31, entering the building at 8:26 p.m. He walked directly to the escalator, bypassing the holiday displays. D was Azaldine's ex-boyfriend. Their relationship had ended nearly a year earlier. Court records would later reveal that Azaldine's family had tried to obtain a protective order against D, citing months of physical and emotional abuse. D approached the cosmetics counter casually, hands in the pockets of his coat. Witnesses reported that Azaldine's expression changed instantly when she saw him. She took a step back. A coworker later stated that Azaldine had whispered, "He's here." D reached the counter and spoke briefly to Azaldine. The security footage has no audio, but his lips moved for only 8 seconds. Then, without warning, he pulled a .45 caliber handgun from his coat pocket. Shoppers nearby noticed the weapon and began to scream. Several dropped to the floor. Azaldine tried to duck behind the counter, but D leaned over the glass display case and fired a single shot. The bullet struck her in the head. She collapsed immediately, falling backward against a shelf of perfume bottles. They shattered around her body, the expensive fragrances mixing with her blood on the polished floor. D then turned the gun on himself, placing the barrel under his chin and pulling the trigger. The bullet traveled upward through his brain. He died instantly, his body slumping forward onto the counter. Nadia Azaldine, still breathing but unresponsive, was rushed to North.
Why do y'all niggas do this, man? Excuse me, man. My throat acting up. Pause. Why do y'all do this, man? Y'all are weird. Y'all are really weird. What they do with those things from the back of the Honda Odyssey from the guy that fell asleep? They like donated it, or they was like on rollback because it was all kind of damaged.
Western Memorial Hospital. She remained on life support for nearly 24 hours before being pronounced dead at 3:43 p.m. on November 29th. Delivery driver. Death by exhaustion. On November 25, 2022, Michael Harrington, a 49-year-old delivery driver for a major courier service, began his shift at 4 a.m. in London, UK. The Black Friday surge had pushed package volumes to unprecedented levels. His delivery van contained 342 parcels, nearly double his usual load. Each one represented a discounted purchase made during the shopping event. Harrington had been working 14-hour shifts for 6 consecutive days. Company records would later show he had delivered over 1,800 packages that week alone. The Black Friday rush had eliminated any chance for adequate rest. His supervisor had texted him repeatedly about meeting metrics and clearing backlogs. At 7:30 a.m., Harrington delivered his first package of the day. The customer noted that he seemed unusually pale and was sweating despite the cold November morning. By noon, he had delivered 147 parcels.
Oh
His
my
tracking device showed
goodness.
no break periods. The van's GPS recorded brief stops lasting only seconds as he ran packages to doorsteps. At 3:15 p.m., Harrington called his wife. The 4-minute conversation, later recovered from phone records, revealed his exhaustion.
Feel good?
"I can't feel my legs anymore," he told her. "My chest feels tight." She urged him to return to the depot, but he responded that he still had 118 deliveries remaining and couldn't afford to lose the job. Fellow drivers spotted Harrington's van at 4:23 p.m., parked half on the curb on Blackheath Road. The hazard lights were flashing. Inside, Harrington was slumped over the steering wheel. A package sat on his lap, the delivery label already scanned. The first responder, an off-duty nurse, found him unresponsive. His skin was cold, his lips blue. She immediately began CPR.
I'm not gonna lie. He tripping.
What?
They don't care about you, gang. Take your health seriously. I get what he's saying though, because as men, we are kind of like, I gotta do this. I don't care. I be in that. I gotta do this. And sometimes you get blind. Like, I'm feeling pain. I'm gonna just get through it because we need this right now. But hey, it ain't worth it. And this is why delivery drivers, if I'm out or something like that, like right here, there's a 2 times a delivery person came, Amazon, but they were doing a little car, like the Flex. They was driving in with, right? And they came, it was hot as fuck outside. I'm in California. But it was August. It was hot as fuck outside. I had watermelon. I was like, "Yo, you want some watermelon?" He was sweating and shit. I'm like, "You want some watermelon?" I was outside literally just like, what was I doing? I think I was like, I saw him coming. Like my thing was down the street. He was coming. I was just outside on the court, just, waiting to get my package. Saw him. had watermelon, tried to give him some. He said, nah, it's okay. This was last year. This was actually this year. Hopefully he's straight, but like, try and be that neighbor or that resident that when the delivery people come.
What?
When the delivery people come, be trying to help them out. Hey, take a water. There's a water for my Amazon delivery. You know what I mean? Because it get real sticky out there, man.
Continuing for 8
you don't
minutes
know
until an ambulance arrived. Paramedics used a defibrillator 3 times, but detected no cardiac response. The medical examiner would later determine that Harrington had suffered a massive heart attack. His coronary arteries showed significant blockage, a condition exacerbated by stress and sleep deprivation. Toxicology reports revealed excessive levels of caffeine in his system, equivalent to consuming 20 energy drinks. At 5:47 p.m., thousands of shoppers continued to place online orders for next-day delivery. Michael Harrington was pronounced dead, still wearing his uniform and surrounded by packages that would never reach their destinations. Parking spot. Confrontation. On November...
You see, that's why I say take it serious real quick. I say take your health serious, because with or without you, niggas still pressing ship.
28th, 2013, the Walmart parking lot in Tazewell, Virginia, was filled beyond capacity. Shoppers had been arriving since 4 a.m. for the 6 a.m. doorbuster deals. Among them was Christopher Jackson, a 35-year-old coal miner and father of 3, circling the rows in his pickup truck, searching
Hard
for a
worker,
space.
huh?
At
Blue collar, huh?
5:47 a.m., Jackson spotted an empty parking spot near the store entrance. As he began to turn into it, a silver Honda driven by Ronnie Sharp, 61, attempted to claim the same space from the opposite direction. Both vehicles stopped, headlights illuminating each other. For 13 seconds, neither driver moved. Security camera footage showed Jackson exiting his vehicle first. He gestured at the parking space, pointing to indicate he had arrived first. Sharp emerged from his Honda, visibly agitated. At 5:48 a.m., the 2 men stood face to face in the empty parking space, surrounded by rows of cars filled with witnesses. Words were exchanged. A witness in a nearby vehicle later reported hearing Sharp say, "I've been waiting for a spot for 20 minutes. Jackson responded, "I was here first." The argument escalated quickly. Sharp returned to his vehicle and retrieved something from the glove compartment. When Sharp turned around, he was holding a folding knife with a 3-inch blade. Jackson backed away, hands raised. Sharp advanced, slashing downward. The knife caught Jackson's
You must have really been mad to see a nigga do, all right, bro, you got it. And you like, nah, I'm still mad. You gotta be really mad to go through with that.
Cutting through his jacket and slicing deeply into the muscle. Blood immediately soaked his sleeve. Jackson retreated to his truck, pressing his right hand against the wound. Sharp followed, still brandishing the knife. Instead of driving away, Jackson reached behind the seat of his pickup and pulled out an unloaded .30-30 Winchester rifle. Witnesses described the scene as surreal. 2 men confronting each other with weapons at dawn in a Walmart parking lot, all over a parking space 20 feet from the entrance. Jackson pointed the unloaded rifle at Sharp, who froze momentarily before lunging forward with the knife. The second slash caught Jackson across the neck, severing his carotid artery. Blood spurted in a high arc, spattering across 3 parked cars. Jackson fired the unloaded rifle, producing only a metallic click. He collapsed against his truck, rifle clattering to the asphalt. Sharp stood motionless, knife in hand, as Jackson bled out in seconds. Store security reached the scene at 5:52 a.m. By then, Christopher Jackson had lost over 2 liters of blood. Paramedics attempted to close the wound, but the arterial damage was catastrophic.
And if y'all hear my stomach going crazy, I'm hungry as hell.
At 6:17 a.m., as shoppers streamed past the
stupid ass niggas
for discounted electronics, Jackson was pronounced dead. Blunt force. On November 25th, 2011, the Macy's department store in San Leandro, California, had been open since midnight. By 4:30 a.m., most of the doorbusters were gone, but shoppers continued to stream through the exits with bags in hand. Among them was Thomas Henderson, 32, a warehouse supervisor who had purchased several discounted items for his children's Christmas presents. Henderson walked across the parking lot with his wife and 2 friends. They carried shopping bags containing a Nintendo game system, children's clothing, and a deeply discounted laptop. The group laughed as they discussed their successful shopping trip, unaware they were being watched. Security footage later showed 4 men following them through the dimly lit parking lot. At 4:34 a.m., as Henderson approached his car, the men surrounded him. One of them, later identified as Robert Andrews, 26, demanded Henderson hand over his purchases. Henderson refused, clutching the shopping bags tighter. Andrews pushed Henderson against the car. Henderson's wife screamed, attracting the attention of nearby shoppers. One of Henderson's friends attempted to intervene but was shoved to the ground by another attacker. The confrontation escalated in seconds. Andrews threw the first punch, striking Henderson in the face. Henderson dropped his bags and raised his hands defensively. The other 3 attackers joined in, punches landing on Henderson's head, chest, and back.
Damn, they
He fell to
gained
the
up on
ground,
him?
curling into a protective position.
How long is it gonna take for Buddy right here to get up? Get up!
What happened next was captured in horrifying detail by the parking lot security camera. Andrews picked up a metal tire iron that had fallen from Henderson's open trunk. He raised it high above his head and brought it down with full force.
Oh,
the metal
nah.
bar struck Henderson's temple, fracturing his skull with an audible crack. The attackers grabbed the shopping bags and fled, leaving Henderson motionless on the asphalt. His wife knelt beside him, screaming for help. Blood pooled around his head, reflecting the colorful holiday.
After that, if I'm the wife, I'm becoming the biggest villain ever. Y'all gonna know about me. I'm becoming the biggest villain ever. No one's gonna know me anymore. I'm changing my name, and I'm just going after everybody, because life not fair.
Lights strung across the storefront. Paramedics arrived 7 minutes later. Henderson had no pulse. Despite emergency cranial decompression...
What is he getting treatment for? You got pushed to the ground. I would have been up hawking them niggas. Take that nigga down. The hardest thing will probably be to know if they have weapons or not. Because they got a little, crazy niggas always be having a little pokey on them. That's the only thing you really got to worry about. Other than that, I'm in there, nigga. I'm in there, nigga.
Performed in the parking lot, the brain hemorrhage was too severe. The pressure inside his skull had reached fatal levels within minutes of the blow. At 5:22 a.m., as the sun began to rise on the post-Thanksgiving shopping day, Thomas Henderson was pronounced dead. The items stolen from him, gifts intended for his children's Christmas morning, were valued at a total of $429.87 after Black Friday discounts. Toys R Us double shooting. On November 28, 2008, the Palm Desert Toys R Us in California was packed with holiday shoppers. Children ran excitedly between aisles while parents hunted for deals. The store's bright fluorescent lights and cheerful holiday music created a festive atmosphere that masked the tension building in the electronics section. Alejandro Moreno, 39, stood with his wife near a display of video games. He was a construction worker, father of 4, with no criminal record. 3 aisles over, Juan Meza, 28, browsed with his girlfriend. Meza had previous run-ins with the law, including a weapons charge that had been dismissed the previous year. At approximately 11:36 a.m., the women began arguing. Store security footage later showed them standing face-to-face, gesturing angrily. Witnesses reported the dispute was about one woman bumping into the other with a shopping cart. What began as a minor incident quickly escalated as both men approached. Words were exchanged. Moreno stepped forward. Meza pulled his shirt up, revealing a handgun tucked into his waistband. Without hesitation, Moreno reached for his own weapon, concealed in an ankle holster. Both men drew their guns simultaneously.
That nigga bent over to touch your toes to get his strap. He said, "Whoop, I got one too."
Shoppers began to scream and flee. The first shot came from Meza's .45 caliber pistol. The bullet struck Moreno in the chest, puncturing his right lung. Moreno returned fire immediately, squeezing off 2 shots from his 9mm Glock.
That 45, that's a big bullet for you.
One round missed, shattering a display case. The other hit Meza in the abdomen, tearing through his liver. Both men remained standing. Meza fired again, his hand shaking. The bullet grazed Moreno's neck before lodging in a ceiling tile. Moreno, bleeding heavily, steadied his weapon with both hands and fired a final shot. It struck Meza directly in the heart. Meza collapsed first, falling backward into a stack of boxed toys. Moreno took 3 steps, then dropped to his knees. Children were screaming. Parents...
That's why Toys R Us fucking closed? This gotta be the reason why Toys R Us... This shit was getting crazy in there over some toys.
Covered their eyes. The store's security alarm began to wail.
Those 2 women, they ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You killed my husband, and I killed your husband. Just stupid.
Blood pooled on the linoleum floor, mixing with scattered sale flyers. By the time police arrived 4 minutes later, both men were dead, their bodies just 20 feet apart in a store.
Ooh, they better be best friends after this.
If you want to see more videos like this,
those women better be best friends after this, because now y'all got something to bond over. Remember that time I hit your cart? I bumped you with the cart? Yeah, I remember that. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Appreciate y'all for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out.